What is going on, guys? David Braga back here to talk about the final two play-in games tonight. We've got North Carolina Central taking on the North Dakota State Bison. We've also got St. John's versus the Arizona State Sun Devils. So let's jump right into this first matchup here. We've got North Carolina Central against North Dakota State. North Carolina Central finished third in the MEAC at 18-15 overall, 10-6 in the conference. They finished 4 games out of first place. However, they did end up beating the regular season winner Norfolk 50-47 in the MEAC Conference Tournament Championship game in order to get into the tournament as the 16 seed. North Carolina, the Eagles, North Carolina Central Eagles, are led by Rashawn Davis, their center, at 14.6 points a game. Followed by Jabri Blunt, a forward, at 10.5 points a game. And I'm going to be honest, I don't really know a whole lot about North Carolina Central or North Dakota State. Looks like here NC Central averaging about 71 points a game, 31% from beyond the arc, 71.5% up from the free throw line, and 45% field goal percentage. So a little under 50% as a team, just over 70% from the line, and just over 30% from deep. So it looks like North Carolina Central is more of a kind of pound the rock, get the ball down low to your leading scorer, and let him do what he do. Also leads the team in rebounds at 8.9 a game. So I'd look for him to take advantage of his size down low against North Dakota State. Rashawn Davis at 6'8", 240 pounds. So I would definitely look for him to get some action down low against North Dakota State. Speaking of the Bison, they got in after beating Omaha in the Summit League championship final. They finished third in the regular season. South Dakota State won the conference at 24-9 overall, but got handed an early exit in the tournament. Omaha and North Dakota State took advantage, made it all the way to the championship game where North Dakota State was victorious 73-63, so a little bit more convincing than was North Carolina Central. However, I would say that this was mostly because South Dakota State took an early exit. South Dakota State obviously lost last night in the NIT to Texas. Texas started off the game up 19-0. And then almost blew it. So I think the argument could have been made that South Dakota State was, maybe they just weren't in that game. Again, I don't know a whole lot about the Summit League, Summit Conference. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, North Dakota State finished third in the Summit. North Carolina Central finished third in the MEAC. So a battle of kind of, middle of the road, slightly above average conferences. Well, not conferences, teams in their respective conferences. Both teams finished at 18-15 overall. North Carolina Central was 10-6 in their conference. North Dakota State was 9-7 in their conference. So pretty even matchup. However, I think North Dakota State has one very keen advantage in this game, led by Vinny Shard at the guard position with 12 points a game, almost 13 points a game. Shooting 36% from deep, and I think that is going to be the key in this game. When you don't want to take the ball down low, what can you do? Drive down low, kick it out, get the ball to your shooters, and have them light it up. As we saw in the previous NIT games from last night, even a team like Prairie View shooting, I think they were 31% from deep. They can get hot. They shot 8 of 12 in the first half. The problem with what Prairie View did was they sort of stuck to that. They didn't get back to the basketball that they knew, ended up shooting themselves out of a game as opposed to keeping themselves in a game, and ended up losing. So I'll be interested to see how North Carolina Central plays against North Dakota State. North Dakota State is averaging about 2 points a game more, as well as shooting 5% better from deep. They're also better shooting from the line, and they're both about 45.6% actually on the nose on just field goal percentage. So I think North Dakota State has that slight advantage from the three-point line, and they've also got an advantage on the free throw line if it does come down to that. So I like North Dakota State in this game. I think they've just got an advantage that North Carolina Central can't match, and that's shooting the three ball. Even if North Carolina NC Central does keep pace like what we saw with Prairie View, can they get back to the basketball that they know as opposed to trying to shoot the ball with North Dakota State? And I think that'll be an interesting matchup to watch out for. Sorry about that. The mailman came, and, well, as my dog would have it, doesn't like the mailman for some reason. But anyway, back to college basketball. Man, North Dakota State, I just think they've got that advantage, you know? Yeah, North Dakota State just got that advantage, being able to shoot the ball just slightly better than North Carolina Central from deep, so I like the Bison to move on. Now, as we move on to the second game, St. John's, Arizona State, congratulations on making the tournament. I don't think that either of these teams in particular should have made it over the other. I also don't think either of these teams should have made it, period. I really thought TCU was going to be one of these two spots, if not in the other 11 versus 11 matchup. Also would have liked to have seen maybe an NC State sneak in. I know their non-conference schedule was horrendous, as in last in the country, not just in their conference, last in the country. But I still think TCU, NC State would have been right there. I think those two teams would have been better than St. John's and Arizona State. But nothing we can do about that now. Just got to go with what we've got and see what's going on. So we'll start here with St. John's, the Red Storm. Quite possibly one of the cooler mascots, cooler names in the conference or in the tournament. Lost to Marquette by 32 in the Big East tournament after finishing 7th in the regular season. 8-10 in the conference, 21-12 overall. It was a pretty tight race in the Big East. Villanova finishing 13-5, and then St. John's finished 7th in the conference, just 5 games back. And only 1 game back of finishing 3rd in the conference, which was Seton Hall, a 10 seed that we will talk about in another video. So, St. John's did enough to get in, though, according to the bracketologists and the selection committee. So, congrats to them as we take a look at their stats. Shamori Pons, heard a lot about him. Haven't really gotten a chance to watch a whole lot of him. But you know what? Averaging 19.5 a game, shooting 35% from deep, 45% from the floor. And he's only, 5 assists to 2 turnovers. Hey, you get good guard play, you can win in the tournament. And Shamori Pons is exactly that. Really good guard from the looks of it, averaging 35 minutes a game. St. John's is a team averaging 77.5 points a game, 36.1% from deep, 45% from the floor. I think that, again, just the ability to shoot the ball from deep, having that good guard play is going to give them an edge. So let's take a look here at Arizona State. Finished 2nd in a Pac-12. Was not good this year. Pac-12 was not a fan of the Pac-12 this year. Arizona State finished 2nd in the conference, 12-6 in conference play, 3 games back of Washington. They ended up finishing 22-10 overall. Again, TCU, man. TCU would have been, maybe I'm biased because I'm a Big 12 fan. Iowa State, got to rep the Big 12 well. But man, 2nd in the Pac-12 at 12-6 versus TCU was 7th in the Big 12. Man, that's 2nd in the Pac-12. You got the job done, but again, can't dwell on it. You just gotta take it or leave it. You can't even really leave it. You just gotta take it. And as we look at the Arizona State Sun Devils stats, Lou Gwentz Dort, another really good guard, averaging 16 points a game. Sun Devils averaging again about in that 77 to 78 point range. Per game, they've got Dort averaging 16 points a game, 40% from the floor, and 31% from deep. So just under what Shamori Pons is averaging. Like I said, both teams averaging just under 78 points a game. Arizona State at 34% from deep. St. John's at 36%. Arizona State 44% from the floor, just under 45. St. John's just over 45. And you know what? Pac-12 wasn't very good this year. I'm going to go with St. John's. I think they were probably the last team in, to be completely honest, as an 11. They were probably the last team in. But you know what? Like I said, great guard play. We've seen it, Iowa State fan, we've seen it with guys like Monte Morris, getting us deep in the tournament. You get great guard play. You can beat anybody. You can win in the tournament. I'm going to go with St. John's and Shamori Pons over Arizona State. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Am I overreacting about these two teams getting it in? Do you also think TCU should have gotten in? Nothing we can do about it. Just got to pick the games and hope we get them right. So, went 1-1 yesterday, but like I said in yesterday's video, not really going to count these towards the total. So, I will see you guys tomorrow when the actual tournament starts, and we'll be keeping track of the total bracket from then. So I will see you guys tomorrow.